Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, the provincial government of Albay has enhanced the skills of agricultural extension workers through specialized training on soil fertility assessment and mapping. Agricultural extension workers participated in hands-on activities covering soil sampling, nutrient evaluation, and spatial data interpretation. The program supports science-based agriculture and helps farmers make informed land management decisions. Officials said the effort boosts resilience and productivity across Albay's farming communities. In other story, the provincial government of Albay has earned recognition as a regional nominee for the 2025 Rafael M. Salas Kaunlarang Pantao Award. The recognition honors Albay's efforts to promote human development, inclusive growth, and people-centered governance. Provincial representatives attended the recognition rites and reaffirmed Albay's commitment to empowering communities and strengthening local development programs. In other news, the provincial government of Albay has completed a 3-day training on soil fertility assessment and mapping for agricultural extension workers. The training strengthened skills in soil sampling, spatial mapping, and nutrient analysis. Participants received soil test kits to support accurate fertilizer recommendations for farmers. Officials said the initiative reinforces evidence-based farming and improved agricultural planning across the province. In the national scene, organizers of the Trillion Peso March warn a third protest will be staged if high-ranking officials involved in corruption are not held accountable. Sunday's second edition at the People Power Monument and White Plains Avenue drew an estimated 5,000 participants and ended peacefully. The march targeted alleged anomalies in flood control and other infrastructure projects involving lawmakers, contractors, and government officials. Organizers stressed that failure to prosecute major offenders will trigger a follow-up demonstration even before another large-scale rally. The program featured politicians, artists, and public figures, including Representative Leila de Lima, Catriona Gray, Pokwang, and the band Ben and Ben. Civil society groups warned the government that inaction against big fish could have serious political consequences ahead of 2028. Despite intermittent heavy rain, participants maintained focus on the anti-corruption messages. The threat of a third march underscores persistent public pressure for accountability in high-profile corruption cases. In other story, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency has released more than 16 million pesos in cash rewards to 19 civilian informants whose tips led to major anti-drug operations across the country. The payouts were issued on November 28 under Operation Private Eye, the agency's long-running incentive program. 8 informants received their rewards in a closed-door ceremony at PDEA headquarters in Quezon City, while others claimed theirs at regional offices. Dangerous Drugs Board Chairperson Oscar Valenzuela praised the informants and law enforcers, emphasizing the personal risks they face and the need for public participation grounded in human rights and safety. PIDEA Director General Isagani Neres said the informant's intelligence triggered 22 high-impact operations that dismantled drug networks, resulted in major drug seizures, and led to the arrest of high-value targets. 7 informants received 2 million pesos each for crucial tips that helped authorities seize large quantities of shabu between May and October, including a 1.48-ton haul in Subic, nearly 895 kilos in Pangasinan, and significant confiscations in Laguna, Zamboanga City, Batangas City, Olongapo, and Angeles City. In other news, a fire early Sunday at the Senate of the Philippines in Pasay City has forced the suspension of the Senate's session originally set for Monday, December 1. Senate President Vicente Soto III ordered the postponement after water from fire suppression efforts seeped into the session hall, affecting the Legislative Technical Affairs Bureau on the building's 3rd floor. In an advisory, Senate Secretary Renato Bantug said the Senate will instead convene at 1 p.m. today, December 2. He added that Senate offices operated on limited staffing or alternative work arrangements to allow uninterrupted cleanup and equipment checks. Only employees from the Legislative Budget Research and Monitoring Office, Maintenance and General Services Bureau are required to report unless otherwise directed. Soto assured the public that all Senate documents, including those tied to the Blue Ribbon Committee's investigation into the flood control project irregularities, remain secure and undamaged. And in the news outside the country, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's request for a presidential pardon in his long-running corruption cases has intensified national tensions and triggered new protests. President Isaac Herzog confirmed receipt of the petition, calling it an extraordinary step with far-reaching implications. Legal experts note that Israeli law allows pardon only for convicted individuals, raising questions about the request's feasibility and the potential for judicial challenges. The move sharpened divisions between Netanyahu's supporters, who said he is being targeted politically, and opponents who view the pardon effort as an attempt to evade justice. Demonstrators gathered outside Herzog's Tel Aviv residence, urging him to reject the bid. Among them, protester Amy Dror warned that eroding legal accountability could signal the end of Israeli democracy. In other story, global arms sales reached a record of $679 billion in 2024, driven by conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. This marks a 5.9% increase from 2023 and a 26% rise over the past decade. The U.S. leads the market with 39 of the top 100 arms makers, including Lockheed Martin, RTX, and Northrop Grumman, generating $334 billion. European manufacturers earned $151 billion, up 13% despite supply chain challenges. The Czech-Slovak group saw the largest increase, with revenues up to 193%, supplying artillery shells to Ukraine. Russian companies Rostec and United Shipbuilding corporations grew 23% to $31.2 billion, while Asia-Pacific revenues fell 1.2% due to delays in Chinese contracts. Israeli firms accounted for over half of Middle Eastern arms sales, totaling $16.2 billion. Cyprus noted production delays, supply shortages, and European military modernization efforts are likely to sustain high global demand. And finally, in the news outside the country, a Filipino domestic worker has been hospitalized in stable condition after rescuing her employer and their 3-month-old baby from a fire that swept through Wak Fung Court in Taipo on November 26. Rodora Alcaraz, 28, a newly arrived worker, was trapped in a smoke-filled room for several hours but managed to shield the baby with a wet blanket until firefighters arrived. She suffered from carbon monoxide inhalation but is now reported to be stable. Philippine Consul General Romulo Victor Israel Jr. praised Alcaraz's bravery, saying she really took care of her ward, the baby, and her employer. Her former employer, Rodaline Dio, described Alcaraz as hardworking and affectionate, noting that her actions reflected her character. Members of the Filipino community in Hong Kong have hailed her as a modern-day hero, offering prayers for her recovery. The fire at Wang Fuk Court, which engulfed 7 high-rise buildings, trapped multiple residents in thick smoke, prompting a large-scale rescue operation by local firefighters. And that's all for the news at 12, December 2, 2025. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writer, LJ Lurejo and Naomi Ruth Hernandez. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis. And our Provincial Information Officer, OIZ Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel E. Rizal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing.